I don't live to be a state representative. That doesn't define me. And plus, I didn't think I had anything to lose in 2011. So what they did, the powers to be, some people call it the establishment, they said, okay, remember my last name is White. People didn't know if I was black, but oh wait, when they find out. So they came up with this trick, it's called redistricting. And they moved us all around. And remember I started with 4 counties? Well, this time they gave me 5 counties and they took 3 away from me, gave me 4 new ones. They couldn't draw me out of my home county. I think they tried to, but they can't do that. Your Constitution does not allow them to do that. And then they told me to go back and say, well, you ought to be thinking about doing some other things. And I told them, I said, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to leave it up to the Lord and the people. We're going to put this in the hands of the Lord and the people. And we're going to let them decide. Some guy moved from one county over to the other county to run against me. Oh, they really thought they had an ambush going on. But being an infantry officer, see, there's a thing called a counter ambush. See, I had a counter ambush going on. So I said, okay. So, and I got the boots to prove it. I put my boots back on and I started walking again. Because again, being a state rep, I was satisfied with going back to the classroom there. Because at the end of the day, it's still going to be in the history books. State rep, 2011 to 2013 or whatever it was, it's still in the history. They can't take that away. But see, you have people that are so consumed with power and ego. So we went back to Southeast Texas and I started campaigning. And obviously you know the answer to that, how that story came out. Because at the end of the day, it's not about James White. It's not about Mayor Anderson. It's not about Spitzer. It's not about Hall. It's not about, the county judge knows this. It's not about you. It's about the people. No, it's about the Lord's people. It's about the Lord's people. And I'm coming before you. I was asked to come here tonight. I've been waiting on this. Doc has been telling me to come down. You know, he's got a connection to my district in Hardin County. I found out that someone else has yeah, there he is. He's got a nice farm in Fred. He's going to be calling me up in a few minutes, in a few days. I think his property appraisal went in. He's going to be calling me. Okay, we've been getting the calls. We're going to do something about property taxes. Oh yeah. We're going to do something about it. But I came tonight as a fellow East Texan to encourage you. I came tonight to ask you to stand up. It can't be about party anymore. It can't be about party anymore. Bob Hall knows it. Both parties drop you into grease. Republicans and Democrats. See, you got to make up your mind when you go to Austin who you're going to serve. Are you going to serve the Lord? Or are you going to serve man? And I hope and I know, because y'all going to tell them, to see Bob and Spitz in Bible study, in members Bible study when we get to Austin. See, we have members Bible study. And then we have another Bible study. Because, sister, in Austin, there are some evil spirits. I know, hey, I know when you go there and, you know about 6th Street. You won't see me there. But I know you know about 6th Street. All the great sounds and fast moving. But you have to make up your mind who you're going to serve. And we're going to have to start calling things like we see it. Early this morning, 10 o'clock this morning, I had another Juneteenth event in Jasper, Texas. And I'm proud to represent Jasper County. Like I told them this morning, every locale in this country, in this state, has had to struggle with issues of race and ethnicity. Jasper has some struggles. You hear about the dragging, but you don't hear about the conviction by the all-white jury that resulted in some of those men going to the, getting the ultimate punishment, death. Because you have forces that want to keep you divided. You hear about the young man that was lost and eventually found, unfortunately, on a homegoing in the woods. But what you won't hear is the blacks and the whites together that will walk in the woods looking for him. And I've had to tell many of my colleagues that want to come up and monitor East Texas. Watch. Yes, I am a member of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus as well. I'm a member of the Tea Party Caucus. I'm a member of the Manufacturing Caucus. I'm a member of the Oil and Gas. And let me tell you why I'm a member of all those caucuses, because they represent all my district. You know, I was black before I was a Republican. I was a child of God before I was black. In saying that, yeah, some of my colleagues from the Texas Legislative Black Caucus wants to come up to Jasper. I said, look, I don't have a problem with you coming to Jasper. We need innovation and change, and we need to accept that in East Texas. That's why you're sending Bob and Spitzer up to Austin, because we need change. We need innovation. We can't keep doing things the same way we've done it. We understand that. But what I've told them is, on the way up, stop in Jefferson County at your courthouse where the corruption is that's impacting blacks and whites in Jefferson County. On the way up, stop at your school board meetings in your cities where corruption is going on and endangering the education of black and Hispanic kids. Before you come to East Texas to lecture us, deal with your issues of race and ethnicity in Houston and Dallas and San Antonio and El Paso. My constituents in East Texas are not your political civil rights pawns. We know we have problems, and the solution to our problems are sitting in these lawn chairs and on this dais, this porch here. No one is going to come in and solve our issues for us. They can probably come in with some help and some resources, and we gladly take it. But it's us getting our hearts right with the Lord and then getting our hearts right with each other. So I say, I don't mind Congressman Lee coming to Jasper. I am very grateful that she got the Justice Department involved with the issue of Alfred Wright. Because one thing, Bob, you know that East Texas, no, Austin, the entire state of Texas need is transparency. Transparency in the budget. Transparency in education. Transparency in criminal justice. Spitz and I'm going to start wrapping this up. Spitz and I were off to the side. I was, you know, he's a medical doctor. And I said, have you thought about your committee assignments? And we were talking about things. And I remember that first session I had. Some people thought I made an interesting vote. See, sometimes you got to show people you're willing to give it all up. Some people don't, you know, in Austin, you know, let me tell you this real quick story. I was sitting in a group of lobbyists before my first session. And that's when you send a whole bunch of new people up there. And when you send new people up to Austin, they get scared. I want to let you know that. So keep sending them. Except in HD 19. You don't need, I'm okay. But anywhere else, okay. And the lobbyists were saying, you know, we listened to y'all. They're talking about those of us that were elected in 2010. We listened to y'all, and y'all talk about you're up here to save Austin for your grandkids. You're up here to save the country. And we think those are all laudable goals. Listen at this, Bob. Just not goals that we've ever heard up here. See, we're used to someone coming up here saying, I'm going to get on the Appropriations Committee, or I'm going to get on the Natural Resources Committee. I'm going to serve about 8 years, and then I'm going to become the chairman. And then a few years later, I'm going to leave the legislature. I'm going to go, I'm going to go myself back into the lobby and make money. We're not used to people coming up there. And they said this, if you're willing, if that's your goal, to save the state and the country for your grandkids and your children, that tells us you don't mind if you don't come back. And if you don't mind not coming back, we don't know what you will do. When I think about Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, they put it on the line and there was no compromise. So I made that vote. Yes, I made that vote. I voted against the speaker. Everybody thought I had lost my mind. But see, I had a whole big, thick booklet from my people back home that told me not to do it. See, sometimes you have to listen to the people. I tell politicians, they say, well, the people, they just don't understand. They understood enough they elected you. They were smart enough to elect you. They had enough information to elect you, so why wouldn't they have enough information to tell you how to do this or that? It's got to be one or the other. And then I got a very interesting committee assignment system. Because see, as a Republican, you're taught or you're conditioned to believe that you have to be in the middle of every big business deal. Jobs, cut government regulation, get government out of business, free market. And I'm all for that. But I got an interesting committee assignment on corrections. Corrections. I have 3 prison units in my district. Anywhere you stand in East Texas, you're probably within an hour or two of maybe more than 50% of the prison population for the entire state. But as a school teacher, and yes, as a black man, I wasn't very cool with that committee assignment. And then I went in and talked to Jerry Madden, who at that time was the committee chair. He sat me down, he said, James, I know you were not expecting this committee assignment. But you're from East Texas. There are a lot of prisons in East Texas. This is a tough budget cycle. We'll be closing some units, but not in your district. I said, okay, good. We okay so far. I don't want a bunch of correction officers coming to me with questions in Walmart. Okay. He said, you've been a school teacher, and we do have a school district. It's called the Wyndham School District that's in the prison system. And he said, James, too many of our black men are in prison, and we just think having you on the committee will give us a perspective on that. And I go visit prisons, and I go worship with them in chapel. And Mayor, it is heartbreaking when I walk in and see so much, when you walk into their craft shops and you see all this talent. And next weekend, I believe I'm going to a GED ceremony, graduation ceremony. And it pains your heart. So much talent, so much promise in the prison. So I'm going into my 3rd term, and I've come to enjoy and take my service on the Corrections Committee with seriousness. I'm going to tell my colleagues, I'm going to charge my colleagues with something. And this is why Doc brought me